Hello YouTube and welcome to a video on DirectX 12 programming. So to do that you need Visual Studio 2015 and that's really it. But before we actually get to DirectX 12 programming, let's get into programming in general. So yeah, let's just remove that. So you'll notice that we have the DirectX 12 app included with Visual Studio 2015 by default, as well as some other things. But we don't want that. We want a Win32 console application. Call it Hello World. And this will be just what we will use as the basis for every program that we use. So this will be like every program will build on these other programs that we build. And that's how we're going to do it till we get to DirectX 12, which will be in about 2 months, maybe 3. x64 release or debug, it doesn't matter, and add new item CBP. Make sure it's called whatever you want. I'm gonna call it main. So that's what it's normally. That's the standard. Include IO stream. So that this is the pound include sign or hashtag include sign means to include something into the product. IO stream means the input output stream. So that means this will get input and output into the console. The console is just a term for this little window that you'll see pop up when we finish this thing. Next we need to use the namespace of standard, and finally int main, because I don't like to overcomplicate things. Using basically means that we're going to be using code from something. Namespace means that we are using a whole namespace rather than part of a namespace, and std means that's the namespace that we're using it from. You can also use using std colon let's say we want to do absolute value and that's it. You can do that, but that does the point. So this is a comment. This is a single line comment, and this will not be ignored, so we don't have to worry about that. But let's just get rid of that because I don't care. Anyway, I use this int main. What does int main mean? Well, int means integer. Main means it's a function or a method that is, this is just the main method called by the linker, so be aware of that. Then we have these little open and closing things right here, and these close and brackets right here. These indicate that what's going inside the function. These indicate what is going to be done by the function. So now we aren't going to be using anything but int argc car pointer argv, like that. That's how you normally would do a main. And then we would say int return 0. 0 is just means nothing happens, so yeah, nothing bad happens. So cout, that means console input output. Then you have to have the output operator. Then we follow that with a hello world \n, because return would be ignored, and there we go. So now if we hit Control F5, we should get a console window that says hello world, and that's it, and it says press any key to continue. When you press a key it ends. So yeah, be aware of that. You hit F7 to build, and F5 will do a normal run, which will just close it immediately after it opens. Control F5 will give you that little press any key to continue sign at the end of it. So be aware of that as well. So okay. So what happens if we take one of these semicolons out though? I didn't explain that yet. If we take these semicolons out, if we hit build, notice that it will say failed. And it'll say expected semicolon. we hit Control F5, build, and this way get build errors, and if we say no, so we have a semicolon that we need to put here. So yeah, that's one error. We could also say ints. This will give us another error. Ints is unidentified. You might be thinking, why is that? But yeah, that's the reason why. Let's say we wanted to use this. This won't give us an error, but neither will this. But later on, if you actually do graphics programming, that will give you an error, but don't worry about that right now. Anyway, include IO stream. Let's say we get rid of that. Again, build errors, no. Let's say we don't want to include the IO stream and just want to have it return 0 though. Well, you can do that, but you'll notice that it'll just do that. Well, let's say we want to actually use this code, but we don't want to include anything. Well, what will that do? Well, that will basically say, no, we don't have any access to this code. So yeah, just beware of that. So you need to include files to use a lot of things within the operating system. That is one of them. Next, you have to go to the use namespace std if you want to not have to type this all the time. You can actually get rid of that and just replace it like that, and that will still work just as well, as you can see right there. And it's good practice to not include the whole namespace, but for right now we're not going to care about that. So yeah, just get rid of this std::, and there we go. So yeah, that's that. So that was lame. So let's create another project, a new project. Now let's create this. It'll be called variables. So variables, this will be simple, our empty project. And this one will also be 64-bit. 64. Project, add new item, main. And then what we will do is add a class. Oh yeah, we haven't gotten the classes yet, sorry. That would be kind of silly now, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't, because let's face it, we want to actually get to the good stuff. So yeah, let's add a class. This class will be called my variable, Mr. App. So what this will do is teach us variables, functions, and classes. So what a class is, if we first we have to actually include that class. So include Mr. App. Notice how I use the quotes instead of the brackets. The brackets, or the arrows, or whatever you want to call them, they basically mean to include something outside the program. This is inside the program, so yeah, be aware of that. Now I'll just include IO stream and include string. So the first thing we're going to do is have a few functions or methods because they're inside a class. So the first method we will write is write to console. And this will take int num or a string sentence. Alright. Next, what we want to do is say void and void. So in the case of an integer, what we're going to do is Mr. App write to console, void Mr. App write to console, and this will be int num as well as void Mr. App, write to console, string, sentence. Anyway, so here we have this. So, yeah. Oh yeah, we aren't using the namespace std, so we have to do that as well. So using alright, so now what we want to do is say in here, let's say cout, or no, actually write to console, and this will be a 1, and write to console, or actually success, which will be integer that we define outside the inside the class, and then we will say success MSG. So now we'll just go here, have two private variables, so int success 0 equals 1, and char, or no, string success MSG. Alright, so it's MSG. And success. I think I spelled those wrong, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Equals U, a succeeder is U. Alright. And then what we'll do is say constructor, we will say write to console uh, 0, and write to console closing. Alright. Now what we want to do is say the same thing. So cout and L. The same thing here will be cout sentence and L. Alright, so that's that. Oh, I forgot something here, the output operator. Alright, so there we go. What we'll do is say int main return 0. Before we return 0, we'll say Mr. app and app dot right app. Let's see. Technique is not allowed. What? Huh. That's weird. Oh. Okay, let's see what's wrong with here. So, error type name is not allowed. Oh, yeah, duh, because we forgot to actually make it a function. So app, and then app dot into console lib blah, and there we go. So now if we do this, you'll notice that we should have several messages on the screen. So 1, a succeeder is you, lib blah, 0, closing. So that's what we have. So what does that do? Well, we can also say 1, let's just do some variables. So 1 plus 8 times 3, so that should be 1 times 24 divided by 3, so 1 times 8, 1 plus divided by 2, so 1 plus 12. And let's see if I'm correct. It should be correct. Oh, did actually hit that. And you'll notice that we forgot something, so alright. Plus 8 times 3. Let's try it, see if that's how we have to do it. Alright. Oh. Success. Alright, so that is what we are supposed to write. Well, let's just do 1 plus 8. Maybe that'll help us. And 6 equals 1 plus 8. Alright, so whatever it is, it's not changing. But let's try 8. That should work. And it doesn't work. So what we'll do is just say let's try CPP. Yeah, because you're not supposed to set variables in there. So success times equals 407. No, it should be 407. Except it's 8 times 407. Alright. So now it's actually doing it properly. So 2, 1. Now if we do that, it should be, but it's not. Alright, so we have to actually build it manually, and then, so we have to plug in, and then we still get that. Alright. Alright, so build solution. So we have to plug in. Alright. Four. So let's do it. It should be 32 then. Alright, so that's 4. Oh, apparently we have to actually change the CPP file before the IH will do anything. That's kind of weird. But whatever. Whatever. 35 and 2 plus 8 divided by 7. So this divided by 3. Or no, mod 3. So yeah, that should give us a 1. Well, actually, that should give us a 2 plus 2. So times 2 plus 2. That's 4. 180. That's correct. All right. So for whatever reason, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, but with this, but whatever. That's beside the point. It still works. So yeah. So, we debug this, Control F5, the exceeder is you, blah blah, 0, closing, 180, yada yada, setting key to continue. So that's basically what methods are. They're just ways of doing stuff within the code. The other thing is that you notice is that we use a class and some variables. So variables, just, you can edit them. So as you saw, we also say success plus 180. If you do that, that should give us 660. And in fact it does, because you can do that. And we can say times 8. So this should give us 8 full circles. And in fact it does. 2884. I mean 2880, I think. Yep, 2880. Yep. Alright. So that's that. Yeah. So you can say anything there. Now I could explain what all this code does, and I will. So let's see. App.write to console blah blah. As you can see, this is a more professional structure of a program because it uses a lot less code to do the same things. If we wanted to do all this, we'd have to write, cout, all this, and yeah, it just gets complicated, more complicated than it needs to be. Same without variables. We get even more complicated without that, because then we'd have to write even more. So now let's try 1 times 45 times 4, just so we can change it and make it actually compile. So this is 1440 and divided by 45. It still won't change anything if we do start without debugging, but if we do plus 180 minus 60, now 496. So yeah, just be aware of that. The next thing to note is this little thing right here, little success message, is a variable. This is also a variable. This is a variable, but for a return type of the function, so you know, so you have to return 0. Whereas you notice that these functions, we didn't have to return anything, because they are void functions. These are void by default, and these are just void because, well, that's what they are. So yeah. So this is really all the code that you need to worry about. So, not all the code that you need to worry about. Sorry, I'm just getting ahead of myself. Yeah, this is all the code that we're going to talk about in this series. For right now, it's just variables and methods and classes. So I figured I'd introduce you to them right away because they're not really that hard to get. Basically, a class is just a system of grouping. A method is something that something does, and a variable is something that some data that is that can change or that can't change in some cases in the constant variables, that basically just is used to manipulate the object or used to make the object. For example, fingers, like let's say chimps have 5 fingers, humans have 5 fingers, we'd all be in the class of ape, which had 5 fingers, and then we'd subclass the ape and the human would subclass the chimp and the human would subclass that because they all had 5 fingers and all that, yada yada yada. So all of them would have 5 fingers. So yeah, just be aware of that. Then we have a few other things. What the heck is going on with that? Oh well, doesn't matter, it didn't do anything. So yeah, anything you guys want to talk about, I'm willing to talk about, but yeah, this is me signing off.